Welcome back to the World Equestrian Center in Ocala, Florida. Xander Keene and Luke Halterman here with you. We are just moments away from the 2024 DEKA Fit Elite Co-Ed Teams World Championship. Fourth elite race of the day. Another fun one. We will be saying that about every single race this weekend, given the level of competition. And you've got a lot of athletes, some of whom competed earlier, some of whom are fresh coming into this afternoon's race, ready for some good action.
Absolutely. This is the return of Kevin Bubbles Gregory right now. This will be his first race, I believe, out of 7 that he's competing in this weekend. The man won 5 world titles last year, I believe, maybe out of 6 or 7 races. But he definitely is known for winning all the co-ed races. This man is a monster in the machines, arguably the best there is at it. He leads Underdog Fitness, which is a huge brand and respected community here in the DEKA Fit community as well. But this man is no longer an underdog. He has got the biggest target on his back, and he is the one who is always going to bring the best teammates out as well, too, to complement him. So I'm excited to see how he does because he does have some stiff competition today.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So Kevin Gregory and Lauren Griffith won last year by about a minute. They ran a 26 flat, which outperformed their seed time by 10 seconds. That's the fastest co-ed elite time, almost 3 minutes faster than the top women's time was earlier today. And yeah, we talked about you can strategize the team race a few different ways. Are you switching off the stations? Do you have one stronger runner? Do you really trade off? In the women's race just about an hour ago, we saw a team that was pretty balanced and split the work in Bridget Brown and Lexi Hazel run away from the field, in the second half of the race and win by close to a minute. Now, on this hand, we've got some male athletes who are very strong on the stations and still solid runners in their own right. But, you've got Kevin Gregory, and we believe Katherine Fahsbender will be running with him.
Yep.
And you've got Greyson, Kilgore, and Katie Duke, who have, I believe, the second fastest seat time. And Greyson, we just saw, took second place individual, and so he's going to be ready to bring it.
Yeah, co-ed is always the most entertaining teams, definitely in the fit, or honestly, probably all weekend because of the diversity that it holds. And like you mentioned, that most of the men are usually stronger in the stations. They usually pick pretty quick females. So it's always fun to watch because the way they split up everything is going to be much different than what you just saw from the female team and later today for the male team as well.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a lot more balanced typically on the female teams and the male teams. We see some of the age group team athletes getting after it. Really nonstop action all day here in Ocala. Yeah. Fortunately for us, we have about an hour in between some of these races, so we can rest our voices and get ready for the next one. But yeah, from start to finish, starting very early this morning with the female age group heats for DEKA Fit, moving all the way through Elite. And then now we are in the team action this afternoon. We had the ruck divisions as well. But yeah, this is going to be exciting. We've got a lot of talented teams. We've talked about Kevin Gregory a lot, given what he does on the station, specifically the bike. Greyson, Kilgore, and Katie Duke. But there are some other talented teams as well.
There are
some of the Spanish athletes who we've seen race multiple times already today.
They are claiming every spot they can.
Absolutely, and coming in with one of the better seed times as well. And so this is going to be pretty exciting. This just given how team races work, people teaming up from different places and things happen. Some of the top teams not competing here this weekend, but we've got a lot of strong ones. Unfortunately, we're excited to see Lauren Weeks and her husband Anthony race, but he wasn't able to make it this weekend, so they will not be in the competition.
I will say Lauren missed out on the perfect opportunity to ask Dylan Scott to replace her husband Anthony to be a team. Could you imagine that duo? I mean, I know they're both one and done, but I think they're both still here. I could be wrong, but how that would have been amazing to watch, though, no doubt. But they won their respected races and they moved on from there, so that's awesome. But yeah, you mentioned other teams aspect. There's other teams that are going to be very competitive as well too, such as Chelsea Grant and Dustin Needham. That's going to be a fast team, along with Alphonse and Munsta. So I'm excited to see the Spaniards do it again. They are doing every single race possible. They travel the furthest, so again, I don't blame them. And at this point, too, to be honest, they each probably blew up in their own respected way in the individual races, just maybe not due to or not used to the speed that they're capable of doing as well. Does fatigue play a factor at this point, or are they more just in it? Hey, I'm here. I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm just going to do the race the best I can. So it'll be interesting to see if they're going to actually be podium contenders in this race or not. And given with the competition that I see, I'll be real honest. I don't know. I don't think so. But I could be wrong, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Moonset's her third race of the day so far already, obviously, given the way that elite female teams went first and now co-ed. Alphonse has had at least a little bit of a break.
Podium
and she did, absolutely, yeah. So, top six, I believe, fifth or sixth in individual and fourth in the team as well. So strong showing
for sure
for her. There's a look at the man himself, Kevin Gregory. We see some other teams in the background as well getting warmed up. There's Brooklyn Nichols on
and AJ
the assault bike and AJ Golick. So that's going to be another
team.
Solid team. AJ, I think, took second in his age group. He's competing elite in both the mile and the strong.
And
one
Brooklyn
of the
Nichols, ultra winner and a couple of DEKA fit podiums herself. So definitely respected athlete. Again, all part of the underdog fitness that Kevin has created. It's awesome to see all this top competitors come out from that community. But Bubbles, I'm excited. Everyone's been waiting for him. They knew Kevin has been around in this community for years, so everyone's known him before that. And it wasn't until last year when he won the World Championship individually where everyone was like, okay, hey, he's much more than just a team player. He's actually the top individual guy as well too. And so now everyone views and respects Kevin as the top dog. I would say, honestly, the most anticipated race that I'm looking forward to this whole entire weekend is going to be the DEKA Strong Men when Rylan Shadegg, fresh legs, mind you, he's only doing the mile and the strong, goes against Bubbles, which I believe will be his last race, or he's doing men's team as well. But if Rylan, that's the only title that Rylan doesn't have, and Kevin's the guy who's going to try to put it in front of him. So that's the race I'm looking forward to. So. But it all starts with today. It all starts with right now, how he feels. And, as much as we talked about Bubbles maybe not being the best runner and stuff, this man's got an engine like no other. He's just like Dylan Scott. It seems like he is always doing something, always doing some workouts. And his motto is pretty much, the quicker you do the station, the quicker or the more rest you get, in which he couldn't be wrong, or he couldn't be more right on that. So, and you're gonna get a show on the bike today.
Yeah, and obviously, his training in the last few years, given the growth of DEKA Fit, has moved much toward becoming a station powerhouse, winning a DEKA Strong World Championship. But he's someone with a background in Spartan racing and has done well at ultras too. So he's got a lot of volume and history built up in that body, and he's just become a powerhouse in the stations. And we see it all come together here. And in a case like this, with it being a team race, only has to do a couple of runs if he needs to. And you have when he's got a strong teammate as well who just took second place earlier this morning, sets up in a pretty good spot. But, we talked about, we haven't seen them warming up yet, but Greyson Kilgore, he's improved every single race. Second place today, going well under the 30-minute mark. And then Katie Duke, who had a strong race herself, just off the podium this morning as well. So the two of them, again, a similar kind of setup there with the two of them, both performing well individually, and Greyson, definitely biased a bit more toward the strength and station side, but certainly a solid runner in his own right, as we saw today.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm looking forward to this matchup. This has been the most anticipated matchup for me today to watch, so I'm excited to see how everyone performs. Tara Jackson and Colin Seifer, that would have been fun to watch as well, along with Vivian and Isaac. Man, that would have been something else. So it appears that AJ Golick changed out his partner from Morgan to
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, thank you.
Yeah, so a little bit of changeover from what you see on the screen here, just again with the nature of the team race. But as long as your teammate is also competing, then it's fine to switch within the parameters of the rules here.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think Morgan just one and done with her race, so no longer competing for the weekend, which, of course, allows AJ to choose his teammates. So, well, Xander, who you got? What's your picks?
I mean, granted, we haven't necessarily seen it in the same race, but I think it's hard to go against Kevin and Katherine, given what he can do on the stations, what he did here last year, albeit with a different partner, but what he does in basically every race. And, we talked earlier about him sort of helping other people qualify, given, his ability on the stations, but, he's racing with someone who doesn't need any help, right?
Oh, right.
Katherine Fahsbender has only done a couple of races, but hung in there today, beat out Morgan Schultz for second place in this morning's race. I think they've got the top spot. I'd have to think that, Greyson and Katie, if they're racing, would be a solid pick for second. And I think it's pretty open after that. I mean, AJ and Brooklyn, a little bit more fresh maybe. They raced, AJ at least raced age group earlier, but it's been a while since then, so we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's hard to bet against Bubbles in any team atmosphere whatsoever. And Katherine is just as fast as Lauren Griffith, so she'll bring it. The question is she fatigued from the earlier race? I don't know if she's ever done 2 in one day. We know she's not going to get much recovery, of course, with Kevin on the machines. Again, though, I think she's a veteran enough presence in just the competitive atmosphere to where that's not going to matter or play into effect. So I have them winning as well, and I do think Greyson Kilgore and Katie Duke will come in second. But third place, I would love to see the Spaniards show up. I really would. I just think both of them are going to be too fatigued at this point to where I think possibly that either, like you mentioned, AJ Golick and Brooklyn Nichols coming in third, or a Chelsea Grant and Nustin Needham. But also, too, John Howard and Laura McCown, they've teamed up a couple times as well, too. And John Howard is an elite athlete. So that's another team to be respected as well. And there's a couple of teams I'm not too familiar with, name-related. Again, hopefully Lauren Weeks maybe surprises us with the Dylan Scott appearance, but don't hold your breath, folks.
Yeah, Chelsea and Dustin come in with a 29:02 seed time. Dustin Needham actually also teamed up with Heather White this year, and they ran 29:09. So
Dustin
awesome, certainly someone who can bring it in a team race. And John and Laura not too far behind them, 29:33.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of gap that just a different strategy or better execution, you can make that up pretty quickly.
Yeah. Which again, that's going to be the biggest thing today. What is the strategy? Because co-ed, you definitely need a strategy, because ideally men take most of the brunt of the station work and women do most of the running. But you could switch it up a bit as well, too. And again, only that 1% can really do all the running, all the stations, and that would be Kevin Gregory. So it's fun seeing that. But I don't think really there's any other team on this list that can match that same strategy. Honestly, other than Greyson Kilgore and Katie Duke, actually, I take that back. We just talked about this before we went live. How about a bike matchup between Greyson Kilgore and Kevin Gregory? Man, if they could be at least within a couple seconds. And I think Katie Duke and Greyson Kilgore know this, that they need to be ahead going into the bike, because we all know what Bubbles is capable of. So if they are ahead of the bike and they can maintain about a 10, 15-second lead afterwards and still be fresh and run, Greyson Kilgore and Katie Duke can easily win this.
Absolutely. And we saw Greyson earlier make his move and really bury Nick Riker in terms of the second and third place in the men's race with a 52-second bike. And obviously you're going to have to go harder than that, but you can, because he's going to have rest.
Exactly.
Katie's going to be doing that run coming in.
And Katie's fast too. So
absolutely. I'm glad I did see just now on the screen before it cut away, Greyson and Katie warming up. Hadn't seen them much yet in the stations, but good to confirm that they are there and ready to roll. It's, you just never know sometimes with these team events and last-minute changes. But, we do have Greyson Kilgore, and, it's fascinating. And I know Bubbles is just as much of sort of a student of this race as anybody, but hearing from Greyson and from Dylan Scott specifically talking about, how in-depth they get with understanding split times and where moves can be made, where their opportunities are. And you'd have to think that, maybe they didn't know that they'd be going up against Katherine Fahsbender and Kevin Gregory, but he was going to be in the race with a top competitor. And whatever that plan of attack is, they've got something. They've
Right.
got some plan, and
Right.
we're about to see, if it can counteract last year's world champions.
Yeah. This is going to be fun, folks. Once it starts, you're not going to want to leave. So you got a potty, do it now. Because before you know it, it's going to be all over. A fascinating stat that Yancey said over the intercom last year at the World Champions is I believe Kevin competed in 7 DEKAs last year. His accumulated bike time, I believe, I could be butchering it by about 10 seconds or so, 1 minute and 25 seconds. All 7 of them together. Tell me that's just not unheard of.
I think that might have been my first bike time. The first time I did a DEKA fit
absolutely.
once,
I'm
and he's
I'm
doing
happy
it
to
in
even get
125.
that. Exactly. That is just remarkable. I mean, no other. There are other guys who can maybe do it when they're fresh, but there is no other guy who can do that and sustain it throughout a weekend and do it individually and compete. It's just he's on another level when it comes to this, and of course he specializes in this sport, which obviously helps a lot. But man, if you've never seen it, folks, you're going to want to watch it.
And if you've ever listened to him talk about it, like Kevin has a strategy and he sort of knows exactly how to use the machine to maximize your output. Like I forget who the interview was with, but I remember I think right around this time last year him talking through his process of kind of like priming it to get the arms moving and then hammering and not just like going all out right from the first second, and that just compounds on itself and really it lets you work through it that much quicker. But it just goes to show you like the output it takes to do that. When we talk about what Greyson Kilgore did, what Heather White did in the women's team race. That was 52 seconds in 1 minute. You're talking about a quarter of that time that he spends on the bike.
Yeah, so all the teams know what Kevin's capable of. They all know they have to have a lead on them going into it. But here's the thing. I don't think they will have a lead going into it because I believe Katherine is just fast enough to keep them alive and ahead. And I do think Kevin runs a couple of times actually. I don't think Katherine does the entire running. I think you'll see a split off at some point, maybe very early, but I don't see it towards the back end by any means. But definitely after the bike, I think it's definitely going to be a full 50-50 split until the last run together. But other than that, I do believe Kevin's going to run maybe once or twice.
I think early on when he has enough time to recover before the stations that he's really going to have to output on for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, remember last year, of course, the races were back to back to back. So he was able to go from co-ed straight to elite male, or maybe it was vice versa. But now this year, of course, it's spread out between about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So it's a little bit more doable as far as recovery. But at the same time, too, that could hinder a couple of things. Too long of a rest could definitely hinder your performance more so than maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, right?
Yeah, at least maybe for the next race, we'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, he hasn't raced yet so far today. So This will be the first time that we see Kevin Gregory in action here this weekend. Certainly not the last, to say the absolute very least.
He will be on every elite coverage team-wise, I believe.
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. I love your sweater, but
worth noting that, obviously a lot of these athletes have competed in DEKA Fit World Championships individually and teams as well. The only intact co-ed team from last year is John Howard and Laura McGowan. Mm-hmm. They were 8th place with a 30:46 last year, but they've improved that seed time by more than a minute here during the regular season this year. So they're certainly on the way up. And
so they've improved a lot.
We've talked a lot about, we think we know who the top 2 teams are likely to be, but a lot of opportunity in the middle of this field for moves to be made and for people to stack a podium spot.
Yeah, I don't want to say that it's a very obvious top 3 by any means. There might be an obvious top 2, but as far as a top 3, it could be anybody. So I'm excited. And even with a couple of teams that are maybe listed a little bit lower seeds, maybe got a roll down call, they can make a name for themselves today. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it looks like we're starting to get our teams called out to the start line now. You see there AJ Golick and Brooklyn Nichols up front, Dustin Needham and Chelsea Grant wearing the red top on the left side.
The tatted team. I like it. Very easy to point them out on that, right? Grayson Kilgore and Katie Duke to the right.
always appreciate when people either wear something that can make them stand out, like
Yes.
Greyson's bright blue
Yes.
shorts.
It does help.
Makes it very easy to identify.
All right, so here's Alphonse right there, the blue and black tank. I'm assuming Munster's right behind AJ. Also, too, another team, I didn't mention this, but Katie Brown and Michael Racine. Michael Racine, I believe, is someone that Kevin has qualified with, but of course disqualified with faster teammates. This guy's a monster, and when they did the teams together, Michael did the bike, not Kevin. So it's just a matter of what maybe Katie Brown's output is, of course. Not anything that I've personally seen, so we'll see if they can show up today as well.
Absolutely. You see Dave Claxton there. A bit of a wardrobe change.
Yeah, just a little bit.
For Dave after the individual races this morning, but still demonstrating, making sure that everyone, most of these athletes have already competed today, or they've at least been around the DEKA Fit arena here in Ocala. But just an important refresher on the movement standards and the points of emphasis, specifically the lunges and the burpees, as well as some other things. But those, I think, are the two big ones, given, sort of full extension that comes into play. We're trying to work as fast as possible. See, there are lots of Underdog Fitness in the background, led by Kevin Gregory, towering over everybody there.
With AJ and Brooklyn in front, too, Underdog.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm going to be surprised in a year or two if there's a whole heat just with Underdog Fitness athletes. So, taking over DEKA, one gym at a time. It's like beating a dead horse just to hear Dave constantly go over the rules, but it is necessary.
Exactly.
I mean, I get it. I get these athletes definitely know what they're doing. They know exactly what the rules are, but you have to do it. You have to say it, because Lord forbid you get 3 races in on this weekend and you decide to get a little lazy, and then now we have another controversy on our hands, right? So it's good that Dave is just doing it. We're in front of all the elites again, because they're the ones that we have our eyes on, right? The age groupers might get away with 1 or 2 here or there because not everyone's watching them, but the elites, they have to set the standard for us age groupers as well.
All right, some final fist bumps from Yancey Culp a moment ago, and now we are just about set to go.
Let's go. All right.
And our DEKA Fit Co-Ed Elite Teams is underway, and right from the beginning, Dustin Edom and Chelsea Grant working their way to the front, and there's Bubbles coming up on the left side again. He's someone who has a big endurance background, and knowing that he's not going to have to run a ton, he'll put out what he needs to on these first couple, of course, with Katherine Fahsbender tucked in right beside him wearing a similar Underdog Fitness top.
Not surprised to see him out in front. Definitely not surprised to see Dustin Edom out in front, that's for sure. The man has wheels on him. But Greyson, Kilgore, and Katie Duke, they gotta punch Kevin in the face early. They have to. Second place is not good enough right now. Come on. I know they want to win. And can Bubbles do the unthinkable? Can he go 7 for 7? I don't think anyone's done that. I don't think anyone has 5, to be honest. I think he already holds the record, but I would love to see him break his old record. So.
Again, if this is your first time tuning into the team race format, you have to do the first and last run together as a team. Other than that, you can break things up however you want. You'll see athletes waiting at stations for their teammate to come around, and in some cases, probably less of it in this race, you see athletes splitting up the runs, going 250, 250. Often you'll see the stations split up as well. But in the case of this co-ed race, in a lot of cases up front, we'll see the guys doing the vast majority of the station work, especially the ones that require a lot of output. But we'll see how that all unfolds as our first couple teams are all in pretty much together.
1:38, first 500. That's awesome. That's a great time. See, Bubbles is capable of running that. Absolutely. Knowing that he's going to do this 30 and then he's about to get another 1:40 to 1:45 second rest, considering that's the pace Katherine runs. And look at, so this is what I like to see. So Greyson is going to take the first run with Katie. Katherine, of course, I assume will probably do the entire 500 because Bubbles wants to be on that rower. But then Katie's going to have that second run. Because I think Greyson and Katie go a little bit more back and forth, where Kevin and Katherine are going to do way more brunt of the work of whether it be the stations or the runs.
And if that becomes the top two teams, it'll be interesting to see those differing strategies and how that unfolds over the course of the race. So Katherine Fahsbender in first place right now, here now on the big screen. Still very early stages of the race. Again, we expect her to do all 500 of this run. And you see Greyson with his ability, knowing if he's only going to have to run a hard 250, he can use that to chase her down.
Yep, and then now let's see if Katherine exchanges, but I have a feeling Bubbles is going to be on the rower. It wouldn't make sense if he wasn't.
And you can see Greyson there, at least we could see off screen Greyson tucking into the rower station. So he handed off to Katie. That's what you expected, Luke, with them going 250, 250.
Right. Smart choice. Get Greyson on the rower. I think Greyson goes the entire 500, just like Kevin will. And I think Katie runs the entire 500 afterwards. So that is where they can where Kevin can maybe make some ground. But Greyson's fantastic at the machine, so I don't know.
We've got some of our other teams. Again, you see in the majority of cases, the female athlete is doing this last run just with the ergs. Obviously, they aren't scaled.
Right.
And so, generally speaking, the male athletes are going to be faster at 500 meters. And if they do all of it, then they can make up more time and avoid the transition.
Wow, Katherine was not too far behind. But then again, I know Greyson started the run just slightly behind, but they're pretty neck and neck. And knowing Kevin, he's probably rowing my guess would be a 130, 135. I don't think he's going anything faster than that, though. And I would assume Greyson's doing the same thing. I would also say AJ and the rest of the gentlemen, type of output you got to put in.
Absolutely. You see Kevin Gregory using his tall frame to its fullest potential here on this rower. About 4.5 minutes into this co-ed team's race.
Yeah, if I was Greyson and Katie, I would say light a match right at the beginning. Just, you might as well. And if Katherine is, in fact, doing most of the runs, make her work for it on the runs and hope that you can blow up Katherine and Bubbles by doing so. I think that's their only chance. Other than that, I think Kevin and Katherine are going to run away with it if that's the case.
So AJ and Brooklyn are switching off. We also saw that from Dustin Needham and Chelsea Grant. So some of these teams that we think are podium contenders taking a bit of a different approach, as you see Greyson Kilgore and Kevin Gregory on the other side. They're taking on the full thing.
Yeah, Brooklyn Nichols and Chelsea Grant are fantastic rowers, so that does make sense to change. Look at that, already taking the lead again.
But it's very close, only about a second and a half, 2 seconds.
Oh, let's go.
With Katherine Fahsbender and Katie Duke.
All right, so both of these ladies are probably going to run the entire 500. Oh, man, let's go. All right, Katie taking over right now, surging past Katherine.
And now maybe an opportunity for a little bit of revenge for Katie Duke, who's behind Katherine this morning, but a different scenario now, not having to do all of the work.
Right. Does any team pass? Oh, okay, if we pass off to Greyson. Okay. All right, I like it. I really do. I like it. Let's see if Katherine can hold on to Katie and Greyson's split times. Yeah, look at oh, that's a minute, but
I think we'll get the final zone time soon, but it was definitely fast.
A minute 30 something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, look at that. Minute 40, 42, 47. Unfortunately, a minute 55 just won't cut it as far as podium and a co-ed elite and stuff. But again, John Howard and Laura McCown, they're ones that will show up at the back end of the race, so never count them out in a potential top 5 scenario for sure.
It's going to be interesting to see if Greyson and Katie continue this strategy. They really potentially could build up a lead on some of these runs, because Greyson you'd expect to be, a much stronger runner than Katherine in terms of, if he's only running 250 and she's running the full 500. And right now you see these top 2 teams are in the stations as well.
Yeah, it's still dangerous though, because Kevin is very well within striking distance still. So, but you're going to hope over these next couple stations, if they're splitting every 250, that even if they're 2 seconds ahead, if they can grab 2 seconds there, 2 seconds there, 2 seconds there, enough to be, let's say, 25 seconds ahead on the bike, that very well could solidify their distance that they need, because the bike is really Kevin's true weapon. And if you take that away from him, there's nothing much they can do after that, hopefully.
And coming out of the rower is just about even. This was about 5 seconds. You see there,
Right.
not a huge gap, but a little bit. If they can continue to increase that, as we were saying, over the next 4 or 5 stations, then there might be an opportunity to withstand whatever Kevin's going to do on the bike.
Absolutely.
And there's a look at John Howard in the foreground going through his box step overs.
Yeah, John Howard, a veteran to the sport, almost at every DEKA Fit race that you could possibly find, and a lot of Spartan races too.
I believe he was on the podium in 35 to 39 age group earlier this morning. So
I believe
solid effort from him.
All right, so Katie, Duke, and them are a full. Well, no, Katherine didn't just come out of the box. So never mind. Not too far behind. All right, as you can see, Kevin is just still that much faster at the station work, and he's going to fly on these setups. He's going to have that same strategy that you saw. Which elite guy was that? Where the shoulder blades pretty much come off the ground.
I think that was Keith Hardwick who was doing that earlier.
That's who it was. Yep. And Kevin flies on these. They need to hold down the barrier so he doesn't hit it forward. Let's see.
So they've extended that lead a little bit.
They do. They got about a 10 rep lead. Yeah, look at this. Again, a top athlete just finding that gray area of what's counted really as an official rep and what's not, and it's allowed. And
in the background, you can see Greyson doing something similar, but he's notably coming further off the ground than Kevin is, that's for sure, but he's out. So it was about 9:33 when Greyson Kilgore headed out of this zone.
Yeah, Kevin will make a little bit time up here on the stations.
There's still about a 10-second gap, so it's gone from even coming out of the rower to now a 10-second gap. The question becomes, does that stay a 10-second gap, or are they able to extend it up closer to 20 seconds heading into the bike, in which case maybe Greyson can withstand Bubbles' onslaught?
Yep. I want to see what an all-out Greyson assault bike is. I really do, because it could be someone that can match what Kevin does. And if that's the case, if this man pulls a sub-15, game over. Game over.
I tell you what, these two teams might push each other to some of the fastest times we've ever seen in this format. Let's put it that way, because last year in the World Championships, Lauren Griffith and Kevin Gregory won by over a minute. And that probably won't happen here unless something completely unexpected happens with these teams blowing up. And so when you have that back and forth battle, or the pressure to extend the gap and be able to withstand some station work later on, that might just pull everyone to faster times.
Yep. And I just saw going past us, Bubbles is running right now. So just like I called, I figured he was going to run. Because with the ski erg, it's going to be pretty easy to transition off back and forth.
Yeah, so maybe if they go 250 on the ski erg, that gives Katherine enough of a rest to be able to hammer that next run. And Kevin's got enough recovery, obviously with farmer's carry after that before the bike. So, yeah, if you're going to try and sneak a run for somebody whose legs are a little bit fresher, this is a good opportunity for it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was a very interesting starting technique from Greyson, but, I mean, you got to get the fan going, and this man is all about numbers and seconds, so I would 100% trust what he's capable of.
And I think he did the same thing earlier in the individual race. He had a kind of hand-over-hand technique, and obviously that's not going to work for the full thing, but, just to get the machine going, kind of like what Kevin does on the bike, just, doing what you need to prime the system and then getting after it after that.
I'll be interested to see. Well, I mean, I'm not sure we're going to be able to see how Greyson and Katie are splitting it. About a
145 right now for Greyson, yeah.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Considering he's probably going longer distance for Katie. I'm sure if he was trading off a little bit more, he could easily hit the 130s. All right, so Katherine and That's the second transition between those two. So I'm wondering what their splits are. Probably 100, 200 maybe? And they're rowing about, or is that Greyson's stream? 150. I think it's Katie Duke.
Yeah, that's
over
Katie
there.
Duke.
Yeah.
I think she took over right about 300.
Okay, so they're probably doing a 1-200 too. So he'll finish it out right here. Katie will get on the run.
Yep.
Greyson do the farmer carry, run again. Yeah.
So another switch. And yeah, this is the difference between the skier and the rower. Obviously, you can switch in a split second on this machine and really keep the momentum going if you're good with it.
Yeah, and the fan doesn't die off too much as long as you keep the tension in the strings for the most part. AJ is fantastic at the skier, too. I know we're not talking much about the third place battle at the moment because first and second is making it very exciting. So I'm wondering if they are in third at the moment. They're good.
There's Katie Duke flying.
They got it. Oh, okay, Catherine's out.
So we'll see who comes out next.
I don't know, maybe a 10-second lead still? Oh, man. This bike showdown is going to be awesome. I can't wait. You know what? I hope it's an M. Night Shyamalan twist, and it's the ladies on the bike. Put the ladies on the bike. We've seen Kevin do his stuff.
So third and fourth came out together. So Brooklyn Nichols and Munsta Kuro pretty much stride for stride. So that could be the podium battle, just like we have at the front of the race, the battle for third and fourth.
That's good. I love seeing the Spaniards up there competing for the podium spot. Oh, Greyson is flying. Man, I don't blame you for the rabbits. I don't blame you. All right, so Kevin's running. All right. You know, I kind of like this. I bet you Katherine does the farmer carry. Actually, it might be smart for the ladies to do the farmer carry. It is lighter weight. The ladies could easily probably carry the 60s like the men. I do like this strategy, actually, and that appears to be that way.
Right here with Katherine, and it allows Greyson to, again, go hard on this 250,
Correct.
and he'll have plenty of recovery before the bike coming up.
Yeah, and she'll do the entire – Greyson will run the first 250, Katie will run the second 250, and then Greyson will hit the bike. So I do like this strategy a lot. Let's see where Katherine's at. Oh, building the lead now.
Here's Katie Duke. She and Greyson Kilgore, your first place team. And Katherine Fahsbender is hammering this farmer's carry. It's about as close as you can get to an actual running motion. So 15:04, although Katherine does sit it down.
Oh, she fell. Oh. Yeah, there is word out there that these floors are very slippery today. Actually, my partner just texted me to prepare for that for tomorrow, so I hope my shoes are pretty stuck on it. Like on the sleds, a lot more people are getting up on their toes because of it. Oh, man, she fell. I hope she's okay. All right, so Kevin back out on the run. Go before split this.
And I think third and fourth place are very close together. Brooklyn trying to chase down the Spanish athlete there at the farmer's carry. So we'll keep an eye on that to the extent that we can. Yeah,
I like it. I like it. All right, so, oh, yeah, man, what a battle. Wow, they are neck to neck. I love it. Yeah, Katie. I think she's a former collegiate athlete, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, she's opening up her stride. It's cool to see with only having to run 250, you kind of see the full potential of what these athletes can do running.
Absolutely. Do not be in the middle of the crosswalk when they come up to you. That is a freight train coming at you. All right, here we go. Bike coming up. Let's see what Greyson Kilgore's got.
Here's Katherine Fahsbender coming across.
Oh, let's see. Yeah, let's get over to the bike. All right, here we go.
There they are, ready to roll.
All right, Greyson knows. Light a match here, bud. You have to. All right, here we go.
All right, so Katie Duke is in.
Nice. Nice. The man's on a mission. Hold the sign down. It's going to blow away. Yancey approves with the head nod. Looking at about 20 seconds right now. Wow, 21 seconds.
And most importantly, Katie is out before Katherine comes in.
All right, here
and
comes
now Kevin Gregory goes to work.
I think 17:10. He's going to have to go. 12 seconds, 13. Wow, 13 seconds. Good Lord.
I think Yancey said it was 12.
Good.
We'll round it down. And now AJ Golick
Good
trying to
God.
solidify third place for his team.
Okay, well, they just caught back up, basically. That was, man, but the question is Katherine too fatigued to run the entire 500 over the 250 split? Good Lord, man. That's just. Yeah, I was so impressed with Greyson's time. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, 20, 21 seconds. You see Greyson
Greyson's
there in
running.
the background. He's running.
Wow.
Oh, we saw him. It was obviously a much different effort, 52 seconds in the men's race, but he looked pretty strong on the run after that.
He did.
Obviously, it's more work here, but if he rested for the first 250, then he's still moving pretty well, it looks like.
This is very impressive, doing a 20-second assault bike into a 250 run. Just the longer the distance between Katherine and Bubbles, of course.
And it looks like third and fourth again, very close together.
Yeah.
You see Alphonse there on his back.
Oh man! All right. All right. This is another station that's pretty easy to transition between the two. All you got to do is pretty much just stand next to your dead ball, and it's easy just to go back, transition back and forth. So. A lot of teams do 5-5 splits, maybe 10-10. Considering their lead right now, I would honestly probably go 10-10. Or if Katie's feeling okay, maybe go 15 and give Greyson some grace and only do 5.
Yeah, it was 18:50
when he came in.
When he came in.
Wow. All right.
And there's Katherine. So there's about a 25-second lead still.
Yeah. It seems like the runs, Katie and Greyson are really pulling away on the runs.
I think right now what's making the difference is Greyson's ability to withstand the station work and still run is allowing them to go harder on the run than Katherine is when she has to run the full 500.
For sure. Yeah, I think Katie and Greyson did a 15-5 split right there, which is great. Gives Greyson a little bit of rest. But as he's jogging over because he's about to run another 250. This is not a station, unfortunately. I think Bubbles is going to make too much ground on. He could in the sled, though. I've seen. Man, they're still close. They're still close.
And the sled being the longest station, there's opportunity there. I mean, there's the most potential time to be made up, but it's going to be tough. Again, the way that Greyson is able to run while doing the majority of the station work so far is making the difference here in this race.
Right.
As we see third and fourth, this battle continuing just 2 or 3 seconds as now Alphonse Ruiz and AJ Golick next to each other trying to work as fast as possible through these dead ball overs.
They are moving too. Oh man, they both know they got to go. These two teams are about as equal as you can get right now.
Normally we talk about the dead ball overs, at least in the individual race, being a station where your heart rate at least can recover a little bit because you can only move so fast. Well, not the case here because they are going about as hard as possible, and you see that they transition. So far, the Spaniards have not, and now they will.
Yeah.
But a little bit of time there doesn't seem like a lot, but just a couple of seconds for her to find that ball.
Matter.
It can make it matter with how close this race has been so far.
Absolutely.
You see, it looks like Brooklyn is more economical with her movement.
Oh, wow.
And now AJ and Alphonse out pretty much together.
Right,
so this podium is going to come down to a burpee off for sure.
All right, so I don't know if Greyson probably ran that last 250, so this is probably their first push and pull would be my guess. Now, keep in mind, this is the first time it's being implemented that it is now on setting 8 throughout the board. There will no longer be an exchange between the resistance on the sleds. Yeah, no longer a change. Unless they just did that right there. I thought I was going to – yeah. I don't know if Dave is did Dave change that or not? I guess hopefully we can maybe see if that happens again. But from my understanding, the new rule going to 2025 is going to be a standard resistance, so there's no longer controversy of maybe a male didn't move it down to an 8 and is pushing a 7, which could be night and day difference in a lot of ways. So
So
Look
right
at
now,
Kevin's
Kevin is
flying.
moving faster, but
Flying.
Greyson and Katie are still a partial length ahead.
Okay, so they moved the resistance. All right, I just saw. Okay, I guess they were allowing it for the. I'm mistaken. Okay, I'm sorry. It's implemented for next year, yeah. But I thought it was all going to start at the World Champs, but we'll see it all next year, which helps the ladies out. I will say that.
Absolutely.
Man, but Kevin was flying on the sled. All right, they are on their third or fourth. Kevin is on his third. Wow, look at that pull.
Doesn't even look like he's pulling a sled. He's pulling an empty wheelbarrow there.
Watching him and Caleb Yates do that on the sled was remarkable because they're both just as equally fast.
And now you see AJ Golick looks like a little bit ahead of Alfonso Ruiz. So that's an important battle. Not that the race is decided yet, although Greyson Kilgore is now finally out. As Katherine Fahsbender pulling it back.
Oh, I think the thing got tied up. What? Oh, it was the last one anyways. Okay, all right. They're not far behind. Oh, man, this is like about probably 10 seconds. We very well could have a burpee off.
This is well within range of a gap that could be made up on the burpee, that's for sure. Now, we would expect, assuming Greyson can still run as he did, they may increase the gap by a couple of seconds coming into the burpees, but there's still a lot to play for here.
Yeah, Katie and Greyson are looking solid with their runs, though. They are.
Yeah, you saw them come through, and now here comes Kevin and Katherine.
As long as they got a 5 burpee lead, they got this in the bag.
Look at that, 133 for Kevin Gregory and Katherine Fahsbender.
Wow. Kevin, put more weight on his sled.
And here's AJ pushing.
AJ, look at him shaking his head. He's a dog, man.
Alphonse is pulling in the background. I'm not sure if that's
on the last. Okay, they got one more.
They have one more. And AJ, is he finishing? Yes, they're out on the last run. Okay, so that might have been the move
right there
for third place right there on the sled push and pull.
Being a whole length ahead is a big difference maker.
Quick look back from Greyson there.
Right, here
I think he's happy to see that he couldn't see Kevin and Katherine behind him. So they were at least a full length of this ahead. And so here we go. So Katie Duke's going to start it right as the clock hits 25 minutes.
Yeah, what's
26 flat was Lauren and Kevin last year in the World Championship.
And I
believe that's
Kevin
the fastest
and Lauren
time.
had the whole world record, right?
Yeah, because their seed time was a little bit slower than the 26 flat. So
they're breaking it. Oh, they're going to 26. They're about 8 reps ahead, which I think solidifies their win.
You see Dave there just making sure the form is being emphasized. And
right now.
Here we go, Greyson Kilgore putting on a show to finish off this race. 25 seconds to work with for the world record. Greyson Kilgore and Katie Duke are just a few reps away from winning this world championship.
Do they get it? Do they get it?
And there we go. They will. Just
26.
Under 26 minutes.
Wow.
25:51. It looks like. We'll see what the official time is, but
that is fast. Man,
absolutely
that is fast.
flying.
I think that'll be the fastest time today. I don't think a male team will match that. That is, or maybe. I hope so. But wow, that was fast.
And Katherine Fahsbender finishing up their last few reps. Solid performance as they come in 26-18.
First time ever competing together. So, it's the first time woes. They did what they could. Katie and Greyson clearly had a strategy. They stuck to it. And I think they did exactly what I said they needed to. They needed to punch Kevin and Katherine in the face early to be able to solidify that. And they had a big enough lead, and Greyson destroyed the bike. Remember, don't be afraid of the bike. Be afraid of man on the bike, and that is Greyson Kilgore. And they were able just to hold him off.
So AJ Golick and Brooklyn Nichols in the front ground with the Spanish team on the right-hand side of the screen.
Oh, man, I wish I could see Monsa and Alphonse as well, too. Let's see.
Oh, we got a no rep.
Oh, we got a no rep. Oh, all right. I like it. Finally, a no rep. All right, Dave's letting them know. Ooh, that's close. That could open the door for Munson and Alphonse. Oh, 18
Looks like
for
2
Brooklyn.
reps left for Brooklyn Nichols. One
Oh,
more.
okay,
and
they're ahead. Yeah. Oh,
wait.
oh yeah, that 1 rep maybe.
There we go. So AJ Golick and Brooklyn Nichols do come in third place.
Good job. That's
Team
awesome.
underdog, 2 spots on the podium.
I love it. I love it. And the Spaniards yet again 4th place. That seems to be their natural spots in the top 5 right now, which is awesome though. I mean, they had a great performance.
How about that? The 3rd race for Munsa, and I believe 3rd top 5. She either got 5th or 6th individually.
That's
but
true. That's
strong,
true.
A strong day's work. I'm not sure if she signed up for a mile tomorrow, but need some food and some Normatec and a whole lot of recovery if there's any more to go.
That's awesome though. All right, so this team.
Got some of our other teams coming in here.
Maybe Andrea Gonzalez and Jose. A team that, again, not on the radar that we were talking about. I'm assuming that this is who these two are. Maybe one of the lower seeds that just been putting a lot of work in lately, and they're clearly crushing it right now. They round out top 5. Is that the record time? Oh, I think so. Okay, I thought it was 26 flat. Okay, all right. Dude, you did great, Kev. Don't worry, we're going to get an interview with you.
So you see in the background, Dustin Needham and Chelsea Grant are finishing up as well. And you saw there, Katie Duke and Greyson Kilgore, 57 seconds on the burpees.
Great burpee time.
They didn't need to go 6 seconds faster, but they did anyway, and they ended up winning by about 20-25.
So Bubbles just came up to us asking if they broke the world record. His own world record, of course, which he says is
25:54, he said. So that must have been maybe a couple of years ago or
that was probably with Lauren when he qualified. Came close to it, of course, at the World Championships. But I think unofficially, I think they did get 51, right? So
yet another world record fastest time ever set.
Wow!
Here on this course
today. This is
today.
a fast course.
Absolutely.
Man, this is great. This is bringing out the best potential in everybody. This is phenomenal. And again, it's only going to be a bar for next year, and we're going to see it be broken eventually. Records are meant to be broken.
And the great part is, just for the growth and evolution of the sport, is last year it was, okay, well, this is what Kevin can do on the bike.
Right.
And so that's the winning strategy. But all of a sudden the game's been changed again because Greyson Kilgore comes out, still puts in the work on the stations, taking the majority of that, but is able to do much more of the running. And that helped carry his team to a decisive victory. And so now, whether it's Kevin and who he runs with, whether it's other teams that see this, now there's another strategy that seems to be the best or the most effective, and that's only going to, cause people to go back to the lab, analyze splits, and figure, okay, where can we make up 10 more seconds and really get this time down even more?
Yeah, I think as the sport grows, you go through an era of what a winning formula is. And then once that formula maybe has reached its potential, you then start formulating something else of what is going to be even better. And Greyson Kilgore and Katie Duke, if in fact they get the world record, this is the formula now. And you got to have two of the athletes that are very similar to potentially get it. Again, but Kevin wasn't far off. And, nothing against Katherine by any means. She stepped in. She did great. She got another second place today, which is phenomenal for her first ever DEKA Fit year. But if Lauren Griffith was here, we could have had a different scenario. Who knows, though? Who knows? Or a fresh Katherine, for that matter, right? Because she did compete earlier today, and for all we know, could really be feeling it in her legs and aerobic system for all that. So I know their potential is a lot better than 26, I believe 14 what they got. So.
And here's a look at all these teams post-race.
The best zone of them all.
Zone 11.
Zone 11, yep. DEKA done. DEKA dead, whatever you want to call it. But Brooklyn Nichols and AJ Golick, two names we didn't even have on our list prior to that, stepping in and getting third place, holding off the Spaniards was awesome. That was a fun battle.
And there's a look at your podium teams. Again, in the middle, Greyson, Kilgore, and Katie Duke.
Fast
On the right, Kevin Gregory, Katherine Fahsbender, then AJ Golick and Brooklyn Nichols in a battle with the Spanish team, but made a decisive move on the sled push and pull to end up with about a 20-second gap. And it got a little tight at the end. We saw a no rep. We weren't exactly sure what the burpee count was in terms of both teams. It was a burpee off for third place, but ultimately Brooklyn and AJ get it done.
No, I'm glad that we got to witness that no rep, because now we can say that we at least saw one. I can't wait to go back, honestly, and then just rewatch to see if, in fact, what maybe AJ did. But it looked like Dave was conversating with him afterwards, telling him.
And then we saw one in a podium position, too. You know, it's one thing to call it a no rep in age group or in kind of the back end of the elite heat when prize money and when podium spots have been decided. But in this case, with the podium on the line to call the no rep there, have the confidence to do that. And,
awesome.
And make the explanation in the moment, make the correction. And, obviously, I don't think AJ, he finished a couple more reps, and then Brooklyn took it from there. But, it's just a point of emphasis and something that they'll focus on, heading into their next race.
Agreed. That's awesome. These teams killed it. That was fun. That was definitely a fun race to watch. We still got one more race today, which I still debating if I'm doing or not. So, Xander, I don't know if you're going to be a one-man show here in the next hour and a half. But we are going to see Kevin yet again. And I don't think Greyson is competing in the men's heat. You know what? Maybe that's who I ask. Let's get Greyson out on the course one more time.
Yeah, I think we're both looking up the elite male fields here.
Yeah, we do have.
Yeah, Kevin is racing with Connor Bell, and we're going to see Jack Bauer and Glenn Race, who both competed earlier, and they've got a nice.
Yeah, Magida and James Muscart. That's going to be a good team. Itor and Igor. So another Spaniard team. Alphonse yet again coming back out on the course.
Dustin Rudder, who had a strong performance in this building in September, he's racing.
Him and Will, I think, team up quite a bit. Yeah, yep. Oh, man, Brian Neely, Zach Tate, Paul Fitzpatrick, and Paul Huffman. Man, that Luke Halterman and Preston Burnett team, I'll tell you what. Preston, if you're watching this all the way from Spain and not telling me, how dare you? How dare you? No, I'm just kidding. But, it's going to be a fun race, and it's going to be a good one to end with as well, too. So
absolutely.
But this co-ed, I mean, man, they got big hype to go around it because that was a very entertaining race. I think now we try to get some interviews, right? I'm gonna step off to the side, Xander. I'm gonna let you do it. Oh, Jason's gonna go find them.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he needs to find them. We know where they are.
Oh yeah, that's true.
They're right here on the screen.
Or go get them. I should say.
Go get them. And, bring them over.
Yeah, I think you're about to get Kevin and Katherine. Well, Xander, has the hype been up to your expectation right now? Or?
Yeah, it's been phenomenal. I mean, again, just obviously with an hour or two gap between all the elite races, but the age group action nonstop. I mean, there's been a couple dozen people on the course the entirety of the day, and so yeah, it's been phenomenal.
Good. Yeah, same here. All right, we're about to get Greyson.
See if we can.
Oh, he's too modest. He wants to put his abs away for us. Oh, very generous of him. Dude, I bet, man. You got one more race. Are you having it? The run is one thing, but I think that's why Jason set up all the other cameras just so I can if we can see. And
So we're still getting this interview coordinated. We got to look at the course right now. Again, not a ton of action at the moment. I think with the elite race happening, it's mostly clear, but we'll have a little bit more coming up as we've got our second place team here about to join us.
Kat doesn't want any more of my sweat on her.
Oh, wow. Take off.
Helicopter pilots?
It's so loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of getting used to. So we're here with Kevin Gregory, Katherine Fahsbender, second place in the elite co-ed teams race just about 5 minutes ago. So I'm sure your heart rate's still about 140, but thanks for coming over and joining us. And it was a battle. I mean, you guys obviously, had a strong competition, and Greyson and Katie was back and forth early. I guess whoever wants to take it first. Did the race play out kind of how you all were anticipating coming in?
I think so. I've raced them a lot with different partners, but Kat's caliber is just up there with everybody else's. So I knew Greyson and Katie would be better than the last time I raced them in April. Both of their fitnesses are getting much better, and although I haven't raced them since, they're both putting up good performances in High Rocks, so I know they're not sitting on their ass. So they're definitely getting better, and I expect them to raise their game out here today. We ran our plan to the best of our ability, and they beat us today. So congrats to them. They got the record. Proud of them. They're great people. Woo. Even though Katie shit talks me, but it's been good fun.
It was fun. I got to race Katie twice today. So
yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, and they obviously both of them raced this morning as well. But for you, only having 4 hours or whatever it was between races. I mean, obviously you were anticipating that coming in, but kind of did your body, your legs respond the way you were hoping, or how did that go?
So I've never raced twice in a day. This was totally new for me. I think my body, the beginning half of the race was fine. It was towards the end that I felt it more like here, like it was burning. I told him when we were on the last run, I was like, I think I need you to take a little bit more burpees. It caught up to me. I did my best to fuel between and then sit down and put my legs up, but there's only so much you can do when you're giving 100% 2 times a day. So.
Not only giving 100%, but when you are running or when you are working, you're working even harder than you were individually because you have a little bit of rest.
Oh, my runs were, I don't know, time-wise, but I felt like I was going way harder. It's just that atmosphere, and then you get the baton, and it's, are you eating a peanut butter and jelly?
Yeah, I got another race on this.
Just with the baton, it's like you're in a track meet. It's a lot of energy out there. How could you not go fast?
And it's fun on our side too, especially in this kind of scenario where obviously, you took, I think, more of the running than Katie did. They were splitting up a little bit more, but with that difference in strategy, it's a lot more back and forth, I think, than you might otherwise get. This morning, an individual race, kind of the field kind of gets set up where they are, and then kind of that's the situation from there. But here, it's a lot more back and forth, and so it seemed like that at least made it exciting for us. I'm sure it didn't feel good either way for you, but
that was pretty painful. But no pain, no gain. You get stronger. And I was really thankful that you asked me to be a partner. That was really cool. I've watched the races in the past, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. I want to be part of this one day, and you let me be part of it. So thank you.
Thanks for coming out, Kat. Some girls would have been intimidated to step out here and have the pressure to win, and I'm glad you have the guts.
Yeah.
So, I think we were talking about coming in. Obviously, we've seen what you can do on the bike in a lot of the zones. We figured Greyson would be strong in that as well. And so I think for us, at least, what seemed like a turning point, or maybe the final one, was when you started the bike was right when they had finished and they were back out on the run. And I think that maybe, at least, I'm sure you weren't thinking about that because you knew what you had to do for the next 12 seconds or so. But I think, were you hoping that maybe it was going to be a little bit closer at that point to where you guys could try and pull that gap back?
Although I went out to Idaho this year and taught Greyson how to do the bike better. So I'm proud of him that he's been getting better. I knew he was going to put up a good bike time, and watching him in the elite this morning, and he beat everybody on the bike. I knew he had it. He's got the guts, but I was just hoping that he would try to do what I do, except knowing he has to run and blow up, and then he would slow down. And I think that, I did what I had to do on the bike. Unfortunately, when you have 2 good people on the bike, there's not much to be had. That next run, Kat had to throw down and pour her guts out and try to catch up, and she did her best, and we got to the tank, and I think we closed the gap a bit on the tank.
Yeah.
But we didn't catch up there, and then the final run, we gave it our all.
Yeah.
And we came in, and Katie Duke had the best burpees in the elite women's field today, and I think we did a really good job on the burpees, but we just had too much of a gap to close. And if the race was one more station with maybe another bike, we probably would have caught them, but we ran out of time.
Yeah.
Well, you might have run out of time, but you put everything out there. It was a great performance, great to watch. Thanks for coming over and joining us. Our second place team, Katherine Fahsbender and Kevin Gregory. Thanks for coming on,
Xander.
and great job.
You.
Yeah, absolutely. And keep eating because I know you got some work to put in later on.
Bye, fans. I'll see you in an hour and a half with Connor Bell.
I'm leaving.
Kat, go to bed.
I think that was the first ever post-race meal / interview that we've had. So thank you to Kevin Gregory for that. So we just heard from the second place team. Let's jump up one spot and hear from the winners. Greyson, good to see you again. Going from second to first place as Greyson, Kilgore, Katie Duke get it done, beating Kevin Gregory and Kat Fahsbender. It was interesting, as we watched it unfold, we noticed that you all approached the race differently from them. Greyson, you did a lot more of the running than Kevin did, and I think that clearly that was going to be the plan. And we heard earlier that you're someone that really dives into the splits and has a plan and sees opportunity. I think, talk us through that strategy of, yes, Greyson, you can put out work on the stations, but the fact that you guys split up the work and the runs more, it seemed to really pay off for you all.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, we've done quite a few team events now, so I think we've gotten so good at knowing who's strong at what. And we don't just dive into our splits. Like, we dive into our handoffs, our transitions. We try to make them as fast as possible. Like, I'm always ready when he's about to get off the station.
Yeah.
And I think it's those little things that don't just give us a few extra seconds, but they also, they get in everyone else's head a little because we're just, in and out,
Yeah. Well, even, as we were warming up, we were practicing our tank transitions. And so I'm coach, Katie's team captain. So she makes game day decisions. I program the workouts. But she says, hey, let's do all of our handoffs on the right so that we're rotating in and out of the handoff at the same time. So she's thinking ahead to all of those little transitions, and we've been practicing for a while. I'll also say we've been hanging out with Bubbles a lot. He's a very likable dude. We race him often. We spent a weekend with him in Idaho. So,
in Philly.
Yeah, so we pretended to be his friend for a whole weekend so that we could learn what he's doing and figure out how to beat him.
I mean, he did about 5 minutes ago just say that he went out to Idaho and taught you how to do the bike better. So that seemed to cost him a little bit here. But, yeah, I mean, that just talk a little bit more about that because, those transitions and little details, right? Yes, we know what the zones are. We know there's 5,000 meters of running and however you split that up. But, even if it's a half second here or there, stacked up over, 20 different 10 runs, 10 stations, all the transitions, those little things, even if you're making them up a second at a time, that can come up with a 20 or 30 second gap later on.
Yeah. Well, and I think we both come from, we both excel at the teams because we're team players. I have a soccer background and he has track relay backgrounds. So we're constantly talking too. So even though we have a plan at the beginning of the race in the warm-up zone, we're like, hey, this, the tank's probably going to be a game time decision.
Yeah.
And we're talking the whole time, hey, you're going first on the burpees right now because I'm a little gassed,
Well, even we were talking about who makes the decision at what time. So on tank transition as an example, the rule is if you're touching the tank, you choose, and then we're just kind of going from there. But in our, we teach a hybrid camp every weekend. We have athletes that roll in and learn about Hyrox and DEKA. And when I'm coaching, I like to yell at people when they come into a zone, when they cross the timing mat, I'm going to count seconds until they actually touch the implement and start moving. So I'm yelling 1, 2, 3, I'm trying to get people to realize if you have 10 or 20 transitions in a competition like this and you spend 4 seconds transitioning, man, that clearly adds up fast. I don't do math in public, but those people listening can add that up in their heads.
Yeah, we've heard that talked about a lot, at least in high rocks, because it's a bigger space and there's more sort of space in the rock zone and all that, and kind of moving with purpose through there. But even here, with the transitions, whether it's coming in and off the ski erg or you did the whole row, so there wasn't that here. But yeah, just those little things, and we've talked about it a bunch, but that can add up over time. Now, when you're standing there on the start line, I'm sure, you both ran this morning, you both ran well, and I'm sure we're happy to an extent. We heard from you, Greyson, earlier, but was the expectation here to win? Was it were you racing against them and against the other teams, or were you executing your game plan and seeing how the race played out from there?
Oh, man, that's great. I think a little bit of both. I mean, we came into this weekend, originally when we signed up for like 5 and 6 races, we were like, our goal is going to be the teams. Those are our priorities. We know that we can do really well. We've raced against Bubbles a lot. And we, again, joke about with him. But even when we're out there, Bubbles is awesome because he's just like, Katie, get the world record. Let's go. Let's run faster. So everyone's always pushing each other. But I think we knew we would both do well. Greyson's probably the fittest he's ever been. And
So are you.
So we just knew, like, okay, we can do so well separately, but when we put us together, it's pretty awesome.
When we took second in the team mile last year, and that was kind of our first taste of team racing in an arena, and we loved it so much. And we're at a stage in our lives, and this is what we were telling like lifelong athletes all the time. It's like, you better love it. Like, you better be doing something that you love. It matters. It's important. We're invested in this. So for us, we love the team races, and we don't really care if the world is watching. We're happy to be here. We love to race. So when we saw Bubbles and Kat teaming up, Katie goes, yeah, we get to race some legit athletes today. Yeah. So a year ago we decided we wanted to win this race, and we've been training towards it. We've been working at it. Very happy with the outcome after a year of training towards this.
Absolutely. So 2 races in. You mentioned signing up for 5, 6 races or whatever. So what else are we going to see you guys doing this weekend?
Katie's in all 6.
Yeah. That's it.
So there you go. Perfect. All right. Well, Katie Duke, Greyson Kilgore, congratulations. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Hopefully we get to talk tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
we'll be here, so hopefully you'll join us.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. So Luke will join us here momentarily to wrap things up for this race. All right, so we're going to get a little bit of a highlight reel from this race. Jason, to my right, pulling that up. So here we go. Here's a look at the team race. Started off hot. Dustin Needham taking things out as expected. And then, over the course of the first few stations, the teams we expected to be near the front did just that. Greyson Kilgore getting to work on the rower.
And they had an awesome strategy. I love it.
And there's Kevin Gregory, Katherine Fahsbender with Katie Duke, really neck and neck through the first few zones. You see there the technique-based sit-up for Bubbles, and the structure shaking with how many athletes were on there at the same time. And, we just heard Katie and Greyson talking about all the little details. They even talked about which way they were going to turn when they handed things off.
Oh, wow. So they were very detailed.
That's how in it and detailed they are. They also, Greyson mentioned, and actually Kevin did too, that he went out to Idaho, spent a weekend with them, and he said that he taught Greyson how to do the bike faster.
Oh.
And so that ends up costing him in this race. So
there's the fall.
There's a look at the fall.
Oh, God, that looked painful.
And it was good to see. We've seen at various points in DEKA, given how hard the floors are, that has cost athletes before, but it looked like Katherine was able to, withstand the rest of the running pretty well,
absolutely.
More or less.
Did she mention it? Did it feel like it compromised her at all for the rest of the race?
We didn't talk about that, but it seemed like, she said she felt pretty strong overall.
Yeah.
So,
okay, good.
And there obviously these 12 seconds with Bubbles getting after her on the bike.
I want to know what the accumulated time is going to be when the weekend is over with Bubbles. So that's starting with 12 seconds, which is standard. I mean, I think he's going to get 12 across the board, which does make sense when I say 1:25 for 7 races. So,
yeah, he was eating peanut butter and jelly and a tortilla during the interview. So he's focused on refueling and getting ready for his next race.
In the next hour,
coming
right?
up in about a little over an hour, yeah.
Yeah, typical Bubbles. I love it. Man, that was a battle. The third place, that was so fun to watch. We finally got to witness our first no rep at the burpee station as well, but it didn't hinder AJ and Brooklyn from getting third. So that was good to see that they were still able to maintain their victory.
And there's Greyson and Katie on the tank push and pull, and they talked about how kind of their rule is, the the changeovers aren't always planned, but whoever's touching the implement, they make the decision on if they're going to do the next one or if the other one's taking over. So they had that game plan, they executed it, and you see the switches there. And I don't know if they lost a little bit of time as we saw Bubbles just making light work of the sled, but it was enough. They had enough of a lead with the running and withstanding the assault bike and all that. And just an impressive showing. It really just shows how this sport is evolving. It's not just about fitness as much as it is about that, but it's about strategy and execution to go along with that, because the tenths of seconds over the course of a race with so many transitions, they all add up, and that's what we saw here.
Yeah, even though you see the victory over by, let's say, 15, 20 seconds or so, it's those little fractions like you were mentioning throughout the race, because it would determine if you go faster or slower throughout the entirety of the race. So just because someone won by 15 seconds thinking, oh, well, they had it in the bag, that's not necessarily true. They just decided at some point, oh, we're going to lay off the pedal a bit because it's no longer within reach, all because of those fractions of seconds that you made occur earlier in the race.
And there's Moonson Alphonse coming in fourth place. We'll get a look at the results here, I believe, momentarily. And here we go. So, yeah, Katie Duke and Greyson Kilgore.
Officially a world record?
16:11. I believe 25:54 was the top time before that. How about that? I mean, that shows the running that they put out there.
That is unbelievable.
And then 26:17. So, yeah, 1 and 2 definitely separated, and, it was a pretty good battle. Ultimately, Brooklyn Nichols and AJ Golick were able to pull away on the sled push and pull. The Spanish team comes in fourth.
Man, look at those 5K splits. Unbelievable. Now, is this did Bridget and Lexi also get the world record with their win?
I don't believe they did.
Okay. I'm just saying there's a lot of
there
world records broken today.
Absolutely.
We got to look at the maybe age group splits tonight in the hotel room and stuff and just see, man, this course is a fast course. This is awesome.
Yeah, it just goes to show that, as DEKA continues to grow, the standards get raised, and athletes who, might have qualified elite in previous years or in age group and putting up top times there as well. So it's been a fun 4 races so far, and one more still to go. So this is going to be a great weekend. We heard Katie Duke is doing all 6 races that she qualified for, and so I think Greyson will see more of him as well. So the winners are not done. The second place team, at least Kevin Gregory, we'll see here in about an hour. And and we'll be on the air right about 6:15, it looks like, for the male team. So 45 minutes from now. Perfect. We'll see you all then. Until then, we'll see you next time here on the OCR Report.
See you guys.